做不到平凡难以非凡. It is hard to become extraordinary if you cannot be ordinary. Xiefeng, March 18, 2012. Translated by Tsong Long and edited by Care. Ordinary means common and normal, that one does not have any special abilities or talents. Extraordinary means not common, but outstanding, that one has an extremely special or good quality. Most people are ordinary, but a few great people are extraordinary. The behavior of an ordinary person does not show any special qualities, and everything they do is very common and usual. But one who is extraordinary demonstrates uniqueness and distinction, and their behavior is special. Everything about the ordinary is foreseeable. However, that of the extraordinary is often hard to understand or describe. The ordinary is like a flower on the meadow, while the extraordinary is like a blooming exotic flower on the cliffs. In ordinary, there is extraordinary. Extraordinary comes from ordinary. Without ordinary, there is no extraordinary. Ordinary is the foundation. Extraordinary is the building on it. Ordinary is the solid vast land. Extraordinary is the vegetation and flowers growing on the land. Ordinary is being down to earth. Extraordinary is flying above the clouds. One who is extraordinary must first be ordinary. If they cannot be ordinary, it is difficult for them to become extraordinary. Without materials such as oil, salt, sauce, vinegar, cabbages, carrots, and other ordinary substances, we cannot cook delicious meals with combinations of excellent flavor, aroma, and color. If we are not familiar with the original state of something, we will be unable to have a unique thinking with distinguished insights and solutions that are unconventional. Jobs such as sweeping, washing clothes, fetching water, applying fertilizer, growing grass, planting flowers, growing vegetables, carrying bricks, cooking, and the like are very ordinary. However, one who has no experience with ordinary jobs or does not strive to deliver first-class quality is far from reaching the state of the extraordinary. One who has too many weeds in their soul garden, such as jealousy, selfishness, laziness, greed, or is quick to complain, compare, and get angry, will never experience the joy and delicacy of life. An amazing article does not use special words, and a great man with excellent quality only shows his nature. If an article uses flowery language and has many ambiguous new words and concepts, it will be very superficial and will lack the necessary connotative meaning. If one tries to show their uniqueness by their way of dressing, talking, and behaving, but is not willing to do the smallest and the most menial job, then they are superficial and do not have precious qualities inside. One who wants to become extraordinary must work hard on things that seem ordinary. If one wants to write a good article, they must work hard on plain words. If they want to cook a wonderful dish, then they must work a lot with oil, salt, sauce, vinegar, other spices, and the proper amount of heat. One who wants to win a Nobel Prize needs to work hard on basic research and tests. One who wants to be a great man of the time must work hard on the daily ordinary jobs. If one cannot deliver excellence on the ordinary and only wants to pursue special behaviors and performances, they will never reach the extraordinary. Taking off the business suit and sweeping floors, carrying manure, moving bricks, digging soil, growing grass, and washing dishes will help one advance toward the extraordinary. When one is able to deliver excellence while they are still a human, they will become a celestial. But if not, they will never realize that dream. You should spend your precious time on ordinary, basic things and not to try to avoid them or strive to be outstanding. Do not attempt to surprise the public and amaze the world, but rather be happy just to do ordinary jobs and be an ordinary person. You should learn common knowledge and do not look for special methods and read special books. Behave normally, eating, drinking, working, and sleeping. Do not attempt to violate the laws of nature. Only then can we gradually move away from the ordinary and toward the extraordinary. 不惜赤子心. Let us not stop a childlike heart. Xiefeng, December 25, 2014. Translated by Tsong Long, Ilian, and edited by Care. When we walk on this way, the way of the greatest creator and the way of life genuine, we are destined to devote ourselves to the land that gives birth to us, to humanity, to nature, and to all other lives. By giving out everything we have, we will achieve perfect souls, noble characters, and the life wealth which qualifies us to enter into heaven. All saints and sages have taught us to give up ourselves, no ego. Because of this no ego, we will not fight with others, we will not get hurt, and we will not have worries or fears. We shall not only devote our wisdom and material wealth to humanity and nature, but will also give our flesh and blood. We return to Satan that which is Satan's, and to the greatest creator that which is the greatest creators. We give back that which we owe to others, and pay off the debts that we owe to Mother Nature. We have left ourselves only with perfect hearts, intact hearts with love. Let love be our guide towards higher level spaces. Let us love people around us, love life, love nature, love our nation and all other nations, love society, and love all those who hurt us. No matter what we have been through, let us not stop a childlike heart, and let us not stop a loving heart. We shall never complain, and our minds shall never be poisoned with hate or revenge. Even as we face death, we shall never let our love extinguish, we will accept it with joy instead. We only measure if we are good enough, and we do not judge society and others. We are wrong when we think others are not good. We should ask ourselves whether we are good enough. We are wrong when we think others hurt us. We should reflect back and ask ourselves if we hurt others. This is not merely psychological victory. We are not going to escape the reality and contradiction. This is not cowardice, but is actually the character that ripe crops must have. Facing our hardships, we accept them calmly. Without experiencing bitterness or difficulties, how can our will and faith be honed and become stronger? A lark can only become a phoenix in the raging fire. Silkworms can only grow after they exfoliate, and they are not able to become butterflies without first being wrapped in cocoons. Hardship is a good thing, not a bad thing. Leave all the good things to others and to society, and let them enjoy the sweet fruits of our labor, which are irrigated by our blood, sweat, and tears. We do not care about our gains or losses, and we do not own any material wealth. We only pay attention to the wealth we accumulate in heaven. Where our wealth is, so do our souls reside. Where our souls reside will be the place to which we finally go. We value and revere life, but we are not afraid of death. In this human world, death is a phenomenon from which we can see Tao in its fairest form. Today when we live, let us live happily. Were we to die tomorrow, we should accept it with joy because death is where life is reborn. If we do not die here, we will not be born there. The most important thing is where we go next. When we have the quality of a heavenly life, how would we be afraid of death? We would look forward to it instead. So, we will neither fight nor resist. Everything is within the control of Tao. Anything appearing to show a complicated form are simple rules and laws of Tao. We face any situation with love, then we are walking on the way of Tao, and we will not lose anything. If we are against Tao, everything will become void and passing clouds that come and go. Who is stronger, and who is the winner? All are tragedies of the short-sighted. Those who are awake will not fight for victory in a flash moment. Let him do it if anyone wants to take something. Let him do it if anyone uses his force. Let him be the hero if anyone behaves strongly. Let us just be unrestrained and celestial, and see who is the one who will have the final laugh. Let us not stop a childlike heart, but treat everything with love. No matter what situations we have encountered, we shall hurt neither our ancestors nor our nation. We shall not hurt society, nature, or other life beings. It is up to the greatest creator to judge who is right or wrong, and it is up to Tao to assess our merits and faults. Let us just have an unrestrained journey and deposit our love in heaven. Let it go, and let all go. Do not attach to anything. Let nature take its course, and let us just follow Tao, then we will eventually reach our destination. 为人生和生命导航, Navigating for Life and Life. Xiefeng. November 12, 2008. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. Glorious flowers in spring and solid fruits in autumn, heat in summer and cold in winter, season after season, the cycle has no end. Streams gurgling through the ages, ebb and flow are just like this since the ancient times. Looking up in the sky, it is forever the same. Looking down the trees and plants, they blossom and wither. So many things are long-lasting, evoking our admiration. Unfortunately, life is short. Life flies like a colt crossing a stream. Young and pretty yesterday, old and faded tomorrow, and the past tenderness went by like the running river. The happiness appears on the eyebrows is as transient as a fleeting cloud, hard to retain. Life, for all living things, is a tragedy. From the long human history, generation after generation, the reproduction has been ongoing and endless, but when focusing on a single organism, we find that everything is so short, like a flash in the pan, like a dream. Whether it was the emperors, the gifted scholars, or beautiful ladies, or all sorts of common people. Whether it was the ones with unmatched achievements, the extremely wealthy, or the unknown poor, they were all hurried passengers. In the end, all is void. When life shows its dark, mean, dirty, and hypocritical face, the course of life is a kind of unspeakable pain and anxiety and a tragedy. When life reveals its bright, noble, pure, and sincere face, the journey of life is so relaxed, satisfactory, happy, and joyful, and a comedy. But no matter how long the comedy plot can be staged on, life will eventually close someday, and will be the sad moments. Flowers will die, do what you may. Well then, what is left for us? What is the point of the things, people, achievements, principles once we were persistent in? Trials and hardships rush around. What do we gain in the end? What is the value and meaning of life? To turn the life tragedy into life comedy has been the dream earnestly pursued by the sages and saints. Throughout the ages, whether insignificant or great, ordinary or extraordinary people, they went wave upon wave and tried to unveil this ancient mystery, guiding the short life to reach the eternal shore, cloaking the joyful, splendid dress for the tragic life, extending the limited trip to unlimited broad life field. Unfortunately, from the ancient Greek philosophers to the Oriental saints, from the Indian gurus to the Western masters of spiritual practice, none of them has offered us a convinced, complete picture. Even the great Buddha had not illustrated all. The Holy Christ did not give us a clear path either. Thousands of years of human tragedy urged us to continue exploring and trekking along the path taken by our ancestors. Where is the path best life path leading to heaven? What will be sight at the end of life? Life is a journey, no matter how we reincarnate, even reincarnate 1,000 or 10,000 times in the mortal world. If our memories are one, then our life in the mortal world is only but one time, not knowing our previous life or our afterlife. How do we connect to the previous life and afterlife, and what is the significance? Only those who clearly understand their past and can see the future are leading a sensible life. And only such people can turn tragedy into comedy and enter to the realm of freedom from the realm of necessity to enjoy wonderful taste and splendid style in the journey of life. Over the mountains and across the rivers, when can we enjoy the dense willow trees and bright flowers? At the vast expense of the sea, what direction is the best course? With no goals and directions, how can we get out of the confusion? When we rack our brains for the temporal loss and gain, for possession, and when we feel anxious and sparing no efforts for holding all the possession, are we missing the best time of life and delaying the big things of life? The human tragedy lies in that each of us has life, but by the time when death comes, we are still unclear about what life is after all. Heaven is not far away ahead. Regrettably, people cannot see it. It is not only is the tragedy of the lost, but also the pain and sorrow for the clear-minded. Through the efforts of thousands of years, particularly with the guidance and teachings of Jesus Christ, Shakyamuni Buddha, the immortal Lao Tzu, Prophet Muhammad, and sages and saints, we finally walked out of the long night to see the dawn of light, and we finally can point a clear path for the value and meaning of life, and a clear future for life. The meaning of life is to pursue happiness, joyfulness, freedom, and blessing. Anything meeting this standard is correct. Anything goes against this standard if confusion and pain. The value of life lies not in what we can obtain and possess in the mortal world, but in sublime the quality of life, improve the non-material structure, ultimately attain immortality. Life is a short trip of life in the mortal world. Life comes to the mortal world is determined by the gravity of each individual life. This gravity, for the public, is made up of debts. For special figures, is decided by missions. Human beings, once have paid off the debts and have lived by as the greatest creator wills, by following the nature, can lay the foundation for going to heaven, the thousand-year world, or the Elysium world. The future of life depends on the thinking and doing of life journey. Where we move our steps, where we will go. 开心快乐自由幸福之含义. The meaning of joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing. Shuefeng, December 1st, 2009. The greatest creator has created man so that man can enjoy the joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing of life. Man is conforming to the will of the greatest creator and is following the way of the greatest creator if he enjoys the joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing of life, and is thus thankful to the greatest creator for this. The main value and significance of life is the pursuit of joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing, the full enjoyment of joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing on the journey of life, and consequently the love for life, for nature, and the gratitude for others, and the cultivation of the morality of man. The meaning of joy is a happy, pleasant, refreshing, and bright mood, without worry about trifles, without gloominess, anxiety, and fear, and a feeling as if the budding of flowers in the warmth of spring, the murmuring of limpid stream, the pleasantly warm sunshine, and the twittering of flying birds. The meaning of happiness, a feeling of satisfaction, pleasantness, comfort, and sweetness, without trouble, suffering, complaint, and hatred, as if one is among the riot of flowers, where the butterflies are flying around, the dragons and phoenixes are presenting auspiciousness, and the two sexes are in great harmony. The meaning of freedom, a state in which one is free from any bondage, obstacle, fear, birth and death, honor and disgrace, fame and gain, worry, debt, and enmity, and in which one is unrestrained and follow the predestined relations. The meaning of blessing, a state in which one feels serenity, auspiciousness, elegance, and contentment, in which one is not disturbed by noise and overworked by official correspondence, and in which one is not worried about livelihood and future, and in which one reaches all thing with consciousness and masters everything with wisdom. The effective way for the attainment of joy. Open your mind, without any reservation and cheating, to the greatest creator, God, Buddha, relatives, friends, and the society. The effective way for the attainment of happiness. Content with your own lot, unselfish, free of ego, impartial, and diligent. The effective way for the attainment of freedom. Reverence and esteem for the greatest creator, God, and Buddhas, adherence to laws and regulations, and free of debts. The effective way for the attainment of blessing. Unconditional giving and unselfish devotion. Having understood the meanings of joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing and mastered the effective way for the attainment of joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing, you will most surely have a joyful, happy, free, and blessed life if you persevere and persist. 良心缺失的标志. Conscience, the mark of the deficiency of conscience. Shuefeng, March 19, 2010. Good conscience, as is suggested by its name, means a kind heart. Man is distinguished from birds and beasts in that man has a conscience. Without a conscience, a man is no different from birds and beasts. The real connotation of conscience. An invisible self-disciplinary moral court rooted by the greatest creator in the life structure of man to enable man to congenitally distinguish between right and wrong and good and evil. Conscience is the natural attributes possessed by man. Like the eyes of a person, conscience has nothing to do with a person's position, fame, property, appearance, age, gender, knowledge, and wisdom. Conscience is a natural norm to maintain the harmony between man and God, man and nature, man and society, and man. Once conscience is absent, there will occur a series of conflicts and contradictions between man and God, man and nature, man and society, and man. Whether a person has a good conscience or not will decide whether he has a good quality and taste. Conscience is an extension of nature of origin, which neither grows nor dies, neither defile nor purifies, and neither increases nor decreases, and which has no perception and thinking, no eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and ideas, no color, sound, fragrance, tastes and touch, no outlook and accordingly no consciousness, no ignorance and no end of ignorance, no death and no end of death, no destruction of Tao, No wisdom and no gain. With the conscience, there will be birth and death, filth and cleanness, increase and decease, perception and thinking, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and ideas, color, sound, fragrance, tastes and touch, outlook and accordingly consciousness, ignorance and end of ignorance, death and end of death, destruction of Tao, wisdom and gain. This is comparable to water, which has the same attribute all over the world, but will take on the attributes of solid, liquid, and gas when temperature changes. Conscience is an attribute rooted in the non-material structure of life. Different life forms have different attributes. The nature of man is originally the same, however, because of the difference in social environment and mechanism and the different sources of man and man are distinguished from each other in the different degrees of goodness of conscience. This is like a tree. Some of its leaves are covered with dirt and thus could not take on their own colors, while other leaves are clean and thus can show their true colors. Conscience is a person's self-disciplinary moral court, which exercises restrictions over his or her actions and words. Without the restrictions of this self-disciplinary moral court, the person may act willfully and stop at no evil, will act in a foolhardy manner and disregard justice, will swell in selfish desire and disregard reason, and will hurt nature and others by hook and crook. Guilty feeling has its source in conscience. Guilty feeling is the shame complex resulting from failure in a suit of self-trial in the self-disciplinary moral court. Without the trial of conscience, the self-disciplinary moral court, man will never have a guilty feeling. If everyone has a good conscience, all the constitutions, laws, statutes and regulations, and rules and commandments prescribed by the society will only be superfluous. Since some people do not have a good conscience, the society has no choice but to lay down constitutions, laws, statutes and regulations, and rules and commandments to exercise restrictions, and the society has no choice but to establish visible courts to exercise judgment of people's behavior. Perfect conscience is the symbol of a person's pure and beautiful soul. Since the structures of life forms at different order of life are different, whether a person has a perfect or deficient conscience can predict the future direction of this person's life. A person with a perfect conscience will undoubtedly walk toward the heavenly kingdom, and a person whose conscience is deficient will most surely walk toward the lower order of life, for example, the animal world or hell. Keep a good conscience, and you will be infinitely blessed. The symbols of deficient conscience. The following phenomena are the symbols of a deficient conscience. Insult and maltreat parents. Desecrate the greatest creator, God and Buddhas. Cause scourge to people's mind in the name of the greatest creator, God, Buddha, and Spirit. Insult ancestors. Abandon underage children. Requite kindness with enmity. Insult and attack teachers and masters. Punish one's own relations. Do not keep promises and contracts. Pollute the earth, the air, the river, the lake, and the sea. 11. Randomly fell trees and destroy grass and flowers. 12. Randomly maltreat and slaughter animals. 13. Cause damage to a developing embryo, destroy a bird's nest and a beast's den, and unearth other people's ancestral tombs. 14. Plunder others' property. 15. Steal, pilfer, rob, rape, oppress, exploit, blackmail other people, take advantage of others' precarious position, corrupt and accept bribes. 16. Extravagance and luxury. 17. Intrusion into private residence, forced and unauthorized entrance into private space. 18. Destroy others' homestead. 19. Lynching. 20. Lie, deceive, and swindle and bluff. 21. Launch indecent assault against children and entice children. 22. Make and sell fake medicine and food. 23. Plagiarize others' achievement and abet others to contend, struggle, and rob. 29. Take away other people's favorite objects. 30. Purposely sabotage public property. 31. Force the good person into prostitution and shift the misfortune into others. 32. Help a villain do evil. Chuck one's weight. About 33. Make false testimony. 34. Expose others' privacy. 35. Restrict, hinder, and deprive others' personal freedom. 36. Laziness and greed. 37. secretly stab the back. 38. Employ artful trickery to appropriate other people's properties. Conscience is the touchstone to test whether a person has a perfect soul, a watershed to test the fruits a person has achieved in self-refinery and self-cultivation, and the best proof to predict whether a person is entitled to walk toward the heavenly kingdom. Keep a good conscience, and you will be infinitely blessed. Abandon the good conscience, and you will be plagued with disasters. 莫让妒忌蒙领眼. Do not let jealousy hoodwink the spiritual eye. Shuefeng, September 26, 2007. Man has 6 perception systems: vision, hearing, olfaction, taste, touch, and spiritual perception, through which man can perceive and understand the world around and the matter that transcends time and space. The fault with any perception system can render us incapable of completely understanding the real situation around us and in the universe. In another word, if we have lost vision, hearing, olfaction, taste, touch, or spiritual perception, then our consciousness cannot truly reflect the objective world. If our eyes are hoodwinked, we have lost our vision, and we can no longer see the infinitely colorful world. If our souls are hoodwinked, our spiritual perception is lost, and we can no longer distinguish between right and wrong, truth and falsehood, and good and evil, and we cannot see the non-material world, and even worse, we can no longer see the greatest creator. If we cannot see anything in the material world, it proves that our naked eyes have gone wrong, are blind, closed, or hoodwinked. If we cannot see anything in the non-material world, it shows that something has gone wrong with our spiritual eyes, which are either blind, closed, or hoodwinked. Everyone has spiritual eyes. Man is equipped with this program. Everyone has spiritual perception. The only difference is the sensitivity. The differences between the ignorant person, the laity, the mortal, the sage, and the celestial being lie mainly in the differences in spiritual perception. The more retarded one is in spiritual perception, the more closely he inclines toward an ignorant person. The more sensitive one is, the more closely he inclines toward a celestial being. To open the spiritual eyes and restore the spiritual perception is the main means by which we move toward the higher order of life through self-cultivation and self-refinery. How can we open our spiritual eyes? The teachings of Jesus Christ and Buddha are the talisman to open the spiritual eyes, and the greatest creator, revelation, wisdom, and unconventional thinking, note. They are chapters of Chanyuan Corpus, are the stepping stones to open the spiritual eyes. How can we restore our spiritual perception? Spiritual perception is itself like a mirror, which does not need us to add anything to it. We need only be diligent in wiping the dust off it. Where is the dust? What is dust? How can we wipe off the dust? What has hoodwinked our spiritual eyes? If our 6 senses are not clean, it will be difficult to open our spiritual eyes. The 6 senses refer to eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. That our 6 senses are not clean means that we have evil in our mind, which prevents us from seeing what we should have seen but allows us to see what we should not have seen, which prevents us from hearing what we should have heard but allows us to hear what we should not have heard, and which prevents from contemplating what we should think over but allows us to contemplate what we should not have thought over. Thus, Buddha warns us to maintain a correct way of seeing, hearing, and thinking. Why is there evil in our mind? Buddha tells us that it is caused by 5 toxins. What are 5 toxins? Greed, anger, infatuation, slander, and suspicion. The Chinese idiom addiction to 5 toxins is understood by some as eating, drinking, whoring, gambling, and smoking, and by some as cheating, hoodwinking, swindling, abduction, and theft. In fact, the 5 toxins should refer to greed, anger, infatuation, slander, and suspicion. The 5 toxins are the dust that should be wiped off frequently. Here I would like to add another toxin, jealousy, which also needs to be wiped off frequently. What is jealousy? Jealousy is the inexplicable, indignant resentment and feeling of taboo arising from within as a result of one's failure to obtain what others are in possession of. Why is jealousy also a toxin? Because jealousy can cause the distortion and abnormality of soul. Because of jealousy, one will create trouble out of nothing, disturb harmony and peace, create friction, contradictions and wars, sow discord among people, and injure life for no reason at all. Jealousy will make one ferocious, will bring about bad temper induced by anger, will make one do insensible things. In a word, jealousy will hoodwink people's spiritual eyes and distort the real nature of matter, and lead them astray and lead them to evil. Take myself as an example. Shuefeng has become the target of many people's anger, jealousy, and hostility simply because he has said he is the person with the highest wisdom, the greatest man in the history, the messenger of the greatest creator, and the incarnation of Jesus Christ and Buddha. As a result, they make themselves the enemy of Shuefeng. Why should they do this? The deepest root for this is jealousy. Because of jealousy, they won't listen to what Shuefeng has to say, and even if they listen to him, they don't do so with a correct attitude, but with a heart of evil. Because they listen with a heart of evil, they fail to see the whole forest because of a few trees. Many women have been attracted to Shuefeng. The love between people should be something sincere, kind, and beautiful, but this has also become the causes for many people's angers. Many people are thus simmering with inexplicable, overwhelming indignation. What are the causes? It is because of jealousy. The bright universe is overcast with dense dark clouds. The peaceful world is thus turned into a gloomy mess. Because of jealousy, the smooth life is filled with twists and turns. Because of jealousy, the pure soul is defiled. You can now believe that the building of life at Changyuan is the best way of self-refinery and self-cultivation. I have created a lot of steep mountains and tortuous rivers. If you have swum across these rivers and scaled these mountains, you will see beautiful flowers in front of you. If you cannot scale these mountains and cross these rivers, you will not be able to enjoy the picturesque scenery beyond, and you can only stay where you are and cannot move forward in transmigration. Then will you still be jealous? Please wipe off the dust of jealousy regular, otherwise, it will be difficult to open the spiritual eyes and restore the spiritual perception. Don't let jealousy hoodwink the spiritual eyes. 天堂里没有嫉妒. There is no jealousy in the paradise. Dayform Celestial. Translated by Tsong Long and edited by Care. Jealousy is a symbol of a flawed, non-material structure of life. It is an illness of one's soul. It is also the ugly side of human nature. Jealousy does not only hurt oneself, it also hurts one's family, a group, and society. Having an inexplicable feeling of hatred because others have better capability, appearance, fame, position, house, wealth, family and living environment, and etc. is called jealousy. Jealousy has an enormous destructive power. Jealousy is a kind of poison which will destroy one's immune system, makes one exhausted. It will break the harmony of small family and group and cause pain. It will pollute the entire society and make it develop towards ignorance and violence. Jealousy is a dark emotion, and it is afraid of being exposed. When jealousy is bursting from reason, it will appear as hatred, fight, blasphemy, vandalism, hysteria, and makes the harmonious and auspicious atmosphere freeze in a moment. Jealousy is a sharp and underhanded knife. Its essence is very vicious and cruel. It will look for every opportunity to put the other person to death. Jealousy is a quality of demon. Some examples of jealousy are: you are riding a bicycle, but feel upset and unhappy when seeing those who are driving cars. It is a sign of jealousy. See a woman dressed smart and beautiful. You gave her a contemptuous look. It is a sign of jealousy. Your husband or wife is with someone else. Your face looks gloomy. It is a sign of jealousy. See others get promotion, move to a house, buy a new car, or become rich. You say, so what? It is a sign of jealousy. Your parents bought new clothes and toys for your brothers and sisters, or left them with more legacy. You start to look for excuses to be difficult. It is a sign of jealousy. The person you love cares others, you don't feel good. It is a sign of jealousy. You are resisting new ideas, new theories, new methods, and new values. It is a sign of jealousy. Someone can write better and more articles than you. Then you behave critical and try to find his weakness. It is a sign of jealousy. Someone always receive others' attention. You then feel lonely. It is a sign of jealousy. Someone was greeted by the president of your country or got a reward. You say, why show off? It is just a meeting with the president, and a small reward is nothing. It is a sign of jealousy. Jealousy is the sign of narrow-mindedness and lack of self-confidence. It is the symbol of one is walking towards the evil. There is no jealousy in heaven. Anyone who wants to live in the heaven must first remove the emotion of jealousy. Anyone who has even a tiny bit jealousy is for sure not eligible to live in the heaven. To remove jealousy, we need to cultivate ourselves. Jealousy is usually generated in a group living environment, so we need to do the cultivation in a collective life. If we just do the cultivation by closing ourselves for the others, we will never be able to eliminate jealousy. We must find a relatively perfect group, live in the group to gradually eliminate our jealousy. 最佳人生投资 The best investment for life. Xiefeng. August 122008. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. Life is just a short trip of life in the mortal world. Since different travel routes lead to different experiences, we each arrive at different destinations. At this point, it is not all roads lead to Rome, but it is branching out in different directions where any mistake can result in long-lasting regret. How many regrets and how much remorse, bitterness, and anguish result from taking the wrong routes, especially as we reach our twilight days. The kinds of sadness, desolation, frustration, and remorse interweave into the pathos of the life song as all the tears dry and only the last breaths remain. There is no way to go back and start again. To whom shall we complain? To whom shall we sigh? We can do nothing but regret. Tragedy can be avoided. It depends on how we choose our route of life. In terms of the modern commodity economic concept, it is how to best invest in your life. The greatest creator has given each of us enough capital, such as time, energy, youth, vitality, freedom of consciousness, health, and so on. So how and where should we invest it? Nature is the same, but people vary. Everyone has his or her own ideal, and they cannot all resonate in the same key. Life has its own levels. Not all life can be expected to become people. Some life will have to take the roles of animals, including livestock and birds. In the travel routes of life, some will have to choose deserts, gully hills, the wilderness, jungles, or steep cliffs. The best life route is only to be understood and chosen by a small number of people. Those who see clearly will see more clearly, but those who do not will be even more confused. In the terms of life-genuine values, the best travel route is the one to trek and climb to the highest realms of life and life. Our entire daily lives are to make life happy, joyous, free, and blessed, and to prepare to arrive at our destination near the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium celestial island continent. When we know where to go and how to reach our goal, our lives becomes clear, as do our minds. The rest is the question of how to direct our life investment. When we invest our time, energy, youth, and other capital into any project that makes it impossible for us to be happy, joyous, free, and blessed, and impossible for us to attain our ultimate aspiration towards heaven, then we must not invest more capital into it. Everything is made clear. The best investment of life is to invest our capital into something that can make our lives happy, joyous, free, and blessed, and to steer our life destinations toward the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium celestial island continent of heaven. Apart from this, all other investments are filled with confusion, regret, loneliness, boredom, bitterness, and pain, lose all our capital, and offer no return in the end. Even more, our investment mistakes may commit boundless sins which cannot be redeemed even after several reincarnations. Let us analyze which of several life investment projects is the best. We will examine life investments for these 8 popular purposes: the family, religion, the state, national independence, a political party, accumulation of wealth, a romantic endeavor, running a business. Family is the life investment project for most people, and many people dedicate their lives to their families. From morning till night, whether for education, work, doing business, or running a company, all they do is for their families. Embezzlement and theft, overt and covert strife, scrambling and squeezing, and other offenses are ultimately committed for their families. People have been trying everything for thousands of years to pursue family happiness and success, and writers have been praising and singing songs for families. Yet unfortunately, despite all the secular forces that have been proclaiming the family's benefits and attempting to maintain the family's existence, they always bring more pain than pleasure. Families are main sources of personal and social pain. So if we invest all our capital into a family project, we will never be able to find happy, joyous, free, and blessed lives, and our life destinations will have no chance of reaching heaven. Note, I am not arguing with those who disagree with this point. If you think investing your life into your family is the most correct, valuable, and meaningful thing for you to do, then so be it. Everyone has their own trajectory of life and life. No one should force their will upon anyone else, and you are the only one who knows if you are wearing the right shoes. Why would I invest my life capital in trying to alter your outlook on life? I would not. Therefore, you must make the investment that you feel best suits your needs. With the awakening human consciousness, more and more people are realizing the malicious character of family life and are gradually but purposefully beginning to draw away from it. The puzzle is that if we move away from the family, then where do we go? The soul must have a resting place. Therefore, many people invest life capital into religions that they believe offer the most truths and join into those religious communities. The two questions now become whether the religion you believe in can provide you with a happy, joyous, free, and blessed life, and whether it can ultimately get you to the ideal realm. Do not lie blindly and deceive yourself, but seek truth from the facts. I do not want to hear your answers. Just ask the question and answer it silently. I am almost certain that you are perplexed, because any religions or faith groups with religious natures have problems which often include theological contradictions. All religious followers feel joyous and blessed for their first few years, but as their thinking grows deeper with the passing of time, they become increasingly confused, unable to find a way out, and develop unresolved internal contradictions. Unless you become a religious gambler or a religious fanatic with a confused mind and soul, or you want to achieve your non-religious purposes through the religious establishment, then if you face reality and seek the truth from the facts, you cannot stay in any religion for very long. Therefore, it is my opinion that if we invest all of our life capital into religious beliefs and activities, it would not be the best investment of life. But of course, if you believe that religion is the best investment of life, so be it. No matter what play it is, someone has to perform in it. Some people invest their life capital into the project of safeguarding the state. Is it worthwhile? That depends. To people who benefit from the existence of the state, yes, but for people who suffer from the existence of the state, no. The existence of the state is a good thing for the authority, but for the majority of the people, it causes suffering. If there were only one state led by one government in the world, there would be many advantages to the common people. What I mean to say is that putting our life capital into the project of maintaining the state is not the best investment of life. But of course, if you trust that this is the best investment of life, then invest as much as you wish, but as time has proven, you cannot force me to stand up for your interests and values. Similarly, investing your life capital to a national independence project is not your best investment either. The formation of the European Union was a sign of civilization's progress, but the collapse of the Soviet Union was a sign of its retrogression. Recently, Georgia and Russia have fought and killed each other's people. National independence is the root of suffering. Similarly, the hardships of the people's suffering in Zimbabwe was also caused by national independence. In fact, patriotism and national pride are both narrow and complex. Investing life's capital into these narrow, divisive projects is certainly not the best investment. Is the best investment of life to invest life's capital into organizing political parties against the government or strife against other political parties? Some people say, politics is dirty. It is as if to say that politics is to do the most shameful things for the most honorable reasons. Those noble ends justify ignoble means. I am a political layman, but I feel that investing life's capital into projects involving politics does not seem to be the best investment of life. Many people invest life's capital into projects that bring them money. Honestly speaking, money is a good thing. It can indeed bring happiness, joy, freedom, and blessings. A life without money is hard to live. Here's the question. Money can twist one's soul, and once one is possessed by money, they will use any and all means to acquire more, by hook or by crook. His or her soul will become increasingly ugly, and that is why Jesus Christ said that It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Just look around. The more money that people accumulate, the greedier they become. Their occasional, generous activities of sharing a feather is either to gain fame to consolidate their wealth or to increase their wealth in other ways. Therefore, investing your life's capital into projects generating wealth is definitely not the best investment. How about investing your life's capital into a romantic endeavor? Here, I would argue that people are untrustworthy and that the only reliable things in life are beliefs, values, and your own inner strengths. So if we invest our life's capital into a certain person and want to obtain happiness, joy, freedom, and blessing, and achieve the goal of entering heaven by relying on this person, it would be a risky investment, a kind of blind luck mentality, and thus certainly not the best investment. How about investing all of life's capital into projects such as starting a business, running a company, or doing research? Such projects can bring you fame and wealth and the admiration of many people or even the whole world. Good. Nice investment. But all these are means to obtain the best life, not the purposes of life. If you designate means as purposes, then you are putting the cart before the horse. The purposes of life are to get happiness, joy, freedom, and blessing, to upgrade your life quality and eventually enter heaven. If you consume all your life on means and totally ignore the purposes, then you will regret it as you face the end of your life. Therefore, the investment in such projects are not the best investments of life either. Well, which investment project is the best life investment? As long as you clear away the impurities, a pool of water will sparkle naturally, be clear and clean, and reflect the sun, the moon and stars, and the mountains with vegetation. As you eliminate each faulty life investment project, one by one, the best one will become clear at a glance. 如何实现人生的价值? How to realize the value of life. Xiefeng, August 232011. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. Everything in the universe has value. There is no waste. As one of the 10,000 types of spiritual life of the universe, people have their own value. Well then, what is our value and how do we achieve it? The fundamental value of our existence is to please the greatest creator. The path to realize this value is to observe the way of nature. When all things comply with the way of nature, they realize the value of their existence. When fruit trees bear fruit, they realize their value as fruit trees. When flowers bloom flowers, they realize their value as flowers. When hens lay eggs, they realize their value as hens. By spinning around the sun, the earth realizes its value of supporting life. When we live our whole lives according to the principles and rhythms of nature, we realize our human value. Any practices or behaviors which breach the principles of nature are contrary to the intention of the greatest creator. Not only will they not achieve their own value, but they will also be punished by the law. If roosters learn to lay eggs and hens learn to crow, neither will achieve their own value, and they will be punished. As a person, you need to live out your childhood excitement during your childhood, your youthful charm when you are young, your middle-age style at midlife, and your old age with calm restraint. When everything goes naturally, then you will have realized your value as a person. But we can be lured by devils and demons to give birth to many ideas, requirements, and behaviors that are outside of nature. This is the problem with people. For instance, the idea and practice of, to achieve a career, is against the principles of nature. To honor one's ancestors, to bring glory to one's group or to the state, to live high above others, to be outstanding and to win admiration, and so on are all against the principles of nature. The ideas and practices of sayings about spirits and deities, of fortunes and disasters, and of cultivating magic communications with spirits are even more against the principles of nature. The following ideas and practices are also contrary to the principles of nature. To become fabulously rich with more money than is needed, to buy several villas and houses, to have a lifetime wife or husband, to have dozens of suits of clothing, to become famous, to win the admiration of people, to become a vegetarian and refuse to eat certain foods, to boast of pride, to quit performing useful functions, to live in luxury and spacious houses and drive luxury cars, and so on are all against the principles of nature. The ideas and practices of people wanting to acquire more than their natural needs require are departures from the way of nature. Similarly, when we suppress our nature in order to achieve an objective, it is not submitting to nature and is also contrary to the way of nature. When contrary to the principles and the way of nature, people cannot achieve the value of their existence. In commodity societies, people frantically pursue material enjoyment and amass wealth. This is a significant departure from the Tao of nature. With secular values, the more they possess, the more they value themselves. But the fact is quite the opposite. That so-called value is not the arrangement of the greatest creator, but the greed and desire of devils. A bird flies in the forest every day, twittering cheerfully, and although it does not possess or store more worms than it needs, it does not worry about whether or not it will have worms to eat the following day. This is in line with the principles of nature. If that bird were to work all day long catching insects and building a big warehouse to store the worms it has caught, then it would be doing those things contrary to the Tao of nature. The Tao of nature is everlasting. Returning to nature is the strongest requirement and the cry of the modern time. If you want to achieve the value of life, you should not nurture wild desires and ambitions or attempt to rise above others, and should not pursue things beyond your natural needs, but you should be willing to be ordinary. You should meld yourself as drops of water do in rivers and seas. You should blend yourself like a tree in the forest. You should be like a flower blossoming harmoniously in a colorful garden or mountain valley among thousands of other flowers. You should fully experience and feel that with which you have been bestowed from the greatest creator. Never try to transform nature, but comply with it. If an individual brings harmony, entertainment, and blessings to others, to society, and to nature, then they have proven to have realized their value. But if that individual brings troubles and pain to others and to society, or harm to nature, then they have proven that they have not achieved their value. Taking the Tao of nature is the most effective way to realize the value of life. Such people will enjoy the favor and grace of the greatest creator, and their reward will be found in their homeland of heaven. The values and meaning of life. Xiefeng, December 32009. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. The value of life is to seek Tao, attain immortality, and go to heaven. The meaning of life is to develop a nature that is pleasing to the greatest creator. Life is just a short trip of life in the mortal world, but the destination for each individual is vastly different. Some rise up to heaven, but some fall into to hell, and some revert back to the animal world, while some return as mortals, and so on. This shows that life's greatest value lies in taking all the chances and conditions, and combines them with Tao to attain the celestial character and go on to live in heaven. Life has 18 aspects that cannot be self-managed. Likewise, it also has 18 aspects can be completely self-managed. Life is an investment. The different directions of investments eventually will lead to huge differences of life results. If you invest in sesame, then you will get sesame. If you invest in watermelons, then you will get watermelons. A day has 24 hours for each of us. Due to the different directions of investments, the life values that individuals get can be very different. I will list 8 investments here, and we will see which one ultimately proves to have the maximum value. Shepherding, growing food, getting married, having children, those children growing up to shepherd, grow food, get married, have children, the grandchildren growing up to shepherd, grow food, get married, and the cycle continues. Attending primary school, graduating from higher education, landing an office job, earning money to buy a house, getting married, starting a family, having children, raising them to attend school and college, land office jobs, earn money to buy houses, get married, and have your grandchildren. Opening a business, earning money, buying property and luxury villas around the world, having 1, 2, even 3 mistresses, raising a bunch of children to inherit the legacy, playing what is desired to be played and seeing what desired to be seen, and then dying peacefully in bed. Becoming an official, climbing up the ladder with a full heart and soul, getting promoted from a clerk to a section chief, to a director general, to a minister, to a provincial governor, and ultimately to become the prime minister while facing twists and turns, often happy and bright ones, all the way up, benefiting close and remote relatives, bringing honors to one's ancestors and to the glorious family. Getting famous. A wild goose leaves behind a voice. A man leaves behind a name. Fame is a kind of asset. Whether in the entertainment industry or television news circles, whether in pop culture or high culture, whether in a political party or a religious community, having only one purpose, to become famous and to meet one's desires through fame. You establishing achievements, either for political parties, religious organizations, or states, dedicating everything including one's life, and finally becoming a national hero, a meritorious statesman, or a religious leader. Retreating from the world, wanting nothing and doing nothing, being abstinent and restraining from material interests, being oblivious to the outside world, but indulging in the books of the saints and sages. Making life happy, joyous, free, and blessed by leading a full life, leaving no remorse or regrets, self-refining by giving unconditionally to charity, knowing the coordinate system and the coordinate points of the universe, and knowing one's self-destination. These 8 investment orientations above are random examples. There are 84,000 ways of the Buddha, and there are 84,000 ways of life journeys. No matter into which directions you invest, the key point is to get the maximum benefits, and that is the value of life. If we make a careful calculation, it is not difficult to understand that investing in the last direction is of a higher value than any of the previous 7. The meaning of life is the complete exhibition of natural character to please the greatest creator. As we are created by the greatest creator, our purpose is to please the greatest creator. Those who fail to please the greatest creator are doomed to suffer tragic lives. The greatest creator created the sun for illumination, fruit trees to bear fruit, flowers and plants to be colorful and beautiful, and people to highlight our natural human nature. What should be there, the greatest creator has given us. What should not be there, the greatest creator has denied us. Additional wants and desires are contrary to the will of and cannot please the greatest creator. The values of life are to seek Tao, attain immortality, and go to heaven. The meaning of life is to exhibit a nature that will please the greatest creator. Believe it or not, 心灵受伤是因为有我. Getting hurt is because you have a self. Xiefeng. September 26, 2012. Translated by Tsong Long. In our lifetime, we always feel being hurt. Sadness and pain are torturing us. We are depressed and angry. We grumble at or hate others. Sometimes we feel so disappointed at life and we are in deep despair. Many times we feel hurt and cannot smile,